Charlotte Elliott was born in 1789. She grew up in a comfortable home in Clamford, now part of London. She was light-hearted, lively, and creative, and would mostly spend her days drawing portraits and writing humorous verses. She lived a carefree life, enjoying the way she would. Her pious family was teeming with ministers. Her grandfather was a famous evangelical preacher. A family which belonged to the evangelical wing of the Anglican Church taught her Christian piety. As she grew older, however, she began to brood, fretting over her faults and failures, her sins. Later on, she felt and realized that something is wrong in her. Hence, she decides to ask her family members to guide her. They had just one thing to say: ask for forgiveness from the Lord. Things got worse when, shortly after her 30th birthday, she became seriously ill and never recovered back. For the rest of her life, she suffered from unbearable pain and became an invalid. Riding a downward spiral, her heart was filled with distress and frustration. As she was undergoing these trials and tribulations in her life, her family knew that she was not able to bear them. And who would be able to live such a life? Hence, they called a preacher who was then there. Dr. Caesar Milan came to visit the family. He was a famous preacher from Geneva, Switzerland. Initially, Charlotte hesitated to listen, but later on, she started feeling the guilt in her heart. Then, seeing not only a physical pain, but also a longing for wholeness and acceptance, he gently reassured her, saying, "Charlotte, you are loved just as you are." This is when a seed starts being planted in her life, which eventually would grow into be an enormous tree. In 1834, Elliott moved to Brighton and lived with her brother, the Reverend Henry Venn Elliott. Charlotte's brother planned to hold a charity bazaar designed to give, at a nominal cost, a high education to the daughters of clergymen supported by St. Mary Church. Elliott also wanted to help her brother in this fund-gathering process, but her illness never allowed her to do so. The night before the bazaar, she was kept wakeful by distressing thoughts. She was feeling useless and rejected, as she was unable to give a contribution. There was a collision of thoughts with sorrowfulness and uselessness revolving in her mind. The next day, as she lay upon the sofa, the thoughts that troubled her the previous night came as a lightning flashback again. But this time, with the hope that had enabled her to sustain herself. The salvation of her life was like an image in front of her. This is when she took a pen and penned down the formula of her faith, what we know as it stands today, just as I am. The fund received from the hymn was more than the amount collected by them in the bazaar, and in a way, Charlotte too gave a contribution to the cause. William B. Bradbury composed music for her lyrics and published the song in 1849. The same has been translated into many languages all over the world. It was first published in leaflet form in 1835. It was then published in the 1841 edition of the Invalids Hymn Book. She wrote about 150 hymns to magnify the name of the Lord. Billy Graham, the 20th century evangelist, claimed that he was converted while just as a hymn was being sung. He led crusades on every continent using this hymn for an altar call. In spite of her illness, Charlotte lived to be 82. She died on September 22nd, 1871. Elliott, Charlotte. Thank you. Stay tuned. God bless.